You What is a woman? Can we define what a woman is? Do we even know? Are women even real? I feel like that's a valid question to ask, right? Are women even a thing? I don't know. Because according to some people, they can't define what a woman is. It's like it's a grand mystery. So today we're on a quest. We're on a quest to find out if women even exist. What's up, everybody? He's late to his own party. Late? No. A Brandon is never late. Carrie Baggins. A Brandon is never... He's never early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Also, this is my show! Show up when I damn well please. I'm into energy drinks now. What's up, Lord Jim? I am woman. Hear me roar. Lord Jim, are you a woman? Have we found a woman? Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's been kind of crazy a little bit lately. I feel like we need to finally just kind of work this out, though, folks. There sure seems to be a lot of nonsense surrounding women. I have noticed also that they don't really have this conversation about men. We know what a man is, right? But a woman? What are women? Don't know. Apparently, this is a nebulous concept that we've never heard of before. It can't be described. You cannot put women in a specific category or group because apparently they don't exist. It's been some sort of like out of this world idea that we've had, that we fooled ourselves about having for forever and a day. My word, how, the wool has been lifted. I'm identifying as a woman for the duration of the show. You know what? Fair, because apparently you could just do that. Apparently you don't have to be born with XX chromosomes. You don't have to be born with a vagina, with a working womb, mammary glands, a brain that functions as females would, wider hip bones, specifically designed for giving birth to children. Apparently, you can just say you have all that, and you have it. It's pretty magical this day and age that we live in. He can stop playing with Gizmo and get to work. All right. Come on, Carrie. Wait, joke's done. Okay. I'm not a biologist. Stop mansplaining, man. What's up, Sean Tillman? Any biologists in the house to help define a woman? Yeah, do we have any biologists? Is there a thing? Are biologists... Wait, whoa. Weird idea. Is biology even a thing? Like, did anyone stop to question whether or not biology is real? Because if women aren't real, then maybe biology isn't real either, and we have been lying to ourselves this entire time. Wait, if women aren't real and biology isn't real, is science even real? Because we've had all that shoved down our throats over the past few years about the science. Like, is science even real now? Should we even believe science? This whole entire thing has just been very confusing. Trust me, women are real, and she wears the pants in your house. What makes you think we wear pants in this house? I mean, you know. How do you guys know I'm wearing pants right now? You don't know. I'm identifying as a dude who tends to overappreciate the particular usual in and out bits typically associated with females of the in and out bits. I'm identifying as a biologist now. That's the way it is in this day and age, we can just kind of identify as whatever we want. It's fine. I'm identifying as a billionaire. That's what I'm gonna. I'm identifying as Elon Musk. You can direct all your Elon Musk related questions to me. My son's name is just the symbol for pi. I found a real man. It wasn't easy. We could go into that at a later date if you want to, because I could talk quite a bit about masculinity. If science isn't real, can we go back to fully trusting the Bible? But that's not real. Nothing is real. Everything is permitted in this day and age. Why do I sound like Jerry Seinfeld? Nothing is real. Everything is permitted. Are you questioning the science now? I don't. Is it even? What is this? Is that even real? Is biology real? Are women? Nothing is real. Pants are overrated. Dude, that is the most true thing that has ever been said. Whose idea was it to wear pants? That's stupid. What a stupid thing we did. So as you guys already know, we have a new Supreme Court justice to nominate, and we have a contender, and it is in the form of Ketanji Brown Jackson. It's the woman. Oh, whoa, sorry. It's the person that Biden has he wants to nominate her. He nominated her, and I keep using these pronouns. I gotta learn how to cut that nonsense out, because apparently we don't know if she's a woman. Anyway, she's been asked all these questions. We've had a lot of issues with Ketanji Brown Jackson. Namely, the fact that she is a person who thinks that pedophiles should get off light. She thinks that the punishments that we pass down to people who touch kids or who want to distribute pictures and videos of kids being touched, thinks that they should probably just... The laws are a little draconian. They're a little old school, a little fire and brimstone. Probably should pull back on the reins a bit. Not punish these people as badly. Red flag number one. I'm not entirely sure if the Biden administration knew that when they nominated her that she had that pass. I don't know. If they did, then that is a very troubling idea, to be sure. But then she had some moments over the past few days that made it seem like maybe there's even more of a problem with her. This is not someone that I want anywhere near a courthouse. At the end of the day, no one. She has no concept about right and wrong, about truth and lies. It's very disturbing all on its own. But we're going to go through some of these today. The biggest one right now that I think is at least at the forefront at my mind right now is she was asked by Marsha Blackburn to define a woman, to which she could not. She said that she could not define one because she's not a biologist. But you know what? What's up, John? How you doing, man? Hitler started wearing the pants deal. What am I, chopped liver? What do you mean, what are you, chopped liver? That song is so out of date now. Red. Shania Twain needs to, change it up if she wants to stay relevant. I feel like a person. Ladies and gentlemen, Ketanji Brown Jackson, in her own words, right here, right now.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Look at her face when she says that. She's like, look at this.
Definition for the word woman.
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
I can't.
Right there. She's got like the subtle eyebrow lift. She's kind of got like a little bit of a smirk going. Like, she's like proud of this answer. She's really proud. She thinks that she's about to just get so much applause and so much praise from the media. She has absolutely no reason not to think that. But look at this. Look at it. Watch her face. Look at her face.
I can't.
You can't.
She's so proud. She's so proud that she gave that answer. This is supposed to be a Supreme Court justice, an incoming Supreme Court justice, someone nominated to the highest court in the land. And she just looked at Marsha Blackburn and basically said, "No, I can't define a woman." Good God almighty. These people. What's up, Kira? Kira, do you know what a woman is? What happened to chat? What is going on with chat right now? Oh no, chat box died. That's not good. That's okay. I wonder why that happened. There it is. Clippable content. If we had the ability to clip, that would be awesome. Yeah, Kira, if you could tell us what a woman is, we'd really appreciate it, because we're kind of lost. We don't know what's going on, and apparently this person who is supposed to be elected to the Supreme Court doesn't know what a woman is. She can't define what a woman is.
Yeah.
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
So here's the funny thing about that whole entire situation. From what I understand, since I was a child, it's been easy to separate men from women, right? Both of them have insanely obvious defining characteristics, if I'm not mistaken. We can get into the science of this because there is tons of science out there. Everything down from the chromosomal makeup to the way that our brains function is different. Women's eyesight differs from men. Men's bodies differ in ways of like, for instance, men's bones are much denser than women's. Our muscle mass is denser than women's. Our skeletons look a little bit different, especially around the pelvic region. Women's pelvic region, their hip bones open up just a tad bit more to make room for a baby. Men's typically don't do that. We, men, have the capability of breathing in more oxygen than women do. We intake a lot more oxygen than women do. Our lungs take a lot more saturation than women's. Did you know that women can notice color shifts a lot more accurately than men? They can see things that are actually in front of them. For the reason, it's because biology made them capable of seeing and noticing things that are right in front of their face a lot more, for many different reasons, not just because of the hunter-gatherer lifestyle that we men tended to be the hunters. We can see stuff from far out. We can see stuff moving from really far out. Our perception, our depth perception, is way more accurate than women's is. However, we can't see crap in front of our face. Women can. Women can notice heat differences better than men can. They can actually tolerate more heat than men can, believe it or not. There are so many more differences, even down to the way that, like, the woman's body treats foreign objects is different. There is so much difference between men and women. And many of these things, without even getting into the absolute science of it, without getting into the nitty-gritty details about biological makeup and chemicals and skeletal structures and all that stuff, as a young child, you can separate men from women very easily. You can tell the difference between who is mommy and who is daddy, who is a mommy and who is a daddy. 4 years old. You get past that point where you understand the biological structures that you see in people, you notice them, you start to notice them very quickly, right? It doesn't take long for you to do that. You can pretty much decide who is and isn't a woman. Just basically based off of looks. Now, I realize that there are people out there who have made themselves look like women, and they're actually men. And when I say made them like they're not just, they don't look like Leah Thomas, right? Leah Thomas, who is clearly a man dressing as a woman, clearly. Don't get it. There's like Blair White. Blair White looks, for those of you who don't know who Blair White is, she's a YouTuber who is a transgender person, conservative, and is very active against speaking out against transgender activism. And their lunacy. Looks a lot like a woman. So yeah, there are times when, people can be fooled. But who could see someone like Leah Thomas or Fallon Fox or, oh God, who is the, hang on, Biden's transgender, I just said her name his name this morning. Rachel Levine. Y'all look here. Rachel Levine. Who looks here and says, "Oh, yep, woman. That's a woman." I think it's pretty obvious. It shouldn't be that hard to define what a woman is. And here's the thing that kind of bothers me about this whole entire thing. And actually, it was Kira who I heard first say this. These people who identify themselves as transgender don't have the right. They weren't born as women. They didn't have to grow up as women. They didn't have to suffer through, puberty as girls and have these massive changes happen to their body. They don't have to. Do you think that Leah Thomas needs to watch his back whenever he goes out drinking at a bar? Because of, walking into the shadows might present some opportunity to a molester? Because let's say someone does come along and wants to molest Leah Thomas. You don't think that Leah Thomas could possibly take care of himself? Put up a really good fight? Okay? They haven't earned the right to call themselves women. They just suddenly decided that they were women, and they decided to take on all the standards, all the female standards of our species. They just suddenly decided to take. They haven't earned the right to it. They haven't. Ted Cruz was interesting as always, dude. Ted Cruz is just the best, man. As much as people hate him, like any time that he pops up, I'm listening. I love it. I can't believe we're in an era where Brennan actually has to describe what a woman is. Welcome to 2022, man. It's insane to me that we have actually gotten. You 100% correct. This idea that I have to go over a lesson that I learned when I was 4 years old, and we have this lesson needing to be said because someone who is about to, hopefully not about to, but is up to enter into a seat on the Supreme Court, the highest court in the land. The fact that I have to go over this lesson because she can't identify what a woman is insane to me. By the way, I'm aghast that we have this society that recently just went through this entire ordeal where feminism was like the big deal, man, from like 2010 all the way to 2015, around 20, maybe I'd say 2015, 2016, like feminism was the thing, man. You were a feminist. Everybody, they were so cocky, they were so powerful, these third wave feminists, that they were advocating openly that women should never go to jail for anything. You still see the echoes of it from time to time. AOC kind of said something along those lines as well recently. But you couldn't say anything that even remotely looked masculine toward a lady. Like it was like if you were talking about, sexy women and you were trying to comment on a woman's looks, you were destroyed immediately. Like you couldn't do that. Do y'all remember the guy who landed a satellite on a comet, and they tore him to shreds. I think this was back in 2015. Scientist lands satellite on comet. Shirt. Let's try that. There it is. Shirtgate. Yep. Shirt storm. This guy. Matt Taylor. Matt Taylor, this was back in, this 2014. Matt Taylor landed an entire satellite on a moving comet. This dude, and people got mad because of the shirt that he's wearing. You see that shirt right there? That shirt was made for him by a female friend of his. And he wore it in honor of her, like to kind of as a shout out to her. And they did not care. They did not care. Because he disrespected women with that shirt. Like the SJWs, the woke culture idiots, tore him apart. The dude broke down crying during an interview because he was so put upon by these idiots, these woke mobs who were trying to destroy him. He felt so horrible. They made him feel so horrible. This dude accomplished something that, like, it is so insanely difficult. You couldn't do it. And they didn't care because he had disrespected women with that shirt. Now, you can literally have a Supreme Court nominee go, I can't define a woman. And everybody on the left, these woke idiots, these social justice jackasses are going, good for her. Yeah, okay. She's so progressive. So progressive. How did we get... No, I know how we got there. I don't need to ask that question. I know exactly how we got there. This is a result of intersectionality, is what this is. Men really do suck all the air out of the room. Well, it's our air to begin with. If you want us, fight us for it. Ha! In high school, I long jumped 22 feet. That put me third in the city finals. If I were a woman, I would have qualified for the Olympics. Yeah, no, absolutely. This is exactly like Leah Thomas. I forget what his name was before he transitioned, and I don't care anymore. Leah Thomas, when he was competing against men, as he should be, was consistently getting like 5th, 6th, 7th place. He wasn't even in the top 3. He couldn't achieve that. And I forget where the phrase originated. I first saw it with Dana Lash. By the way, shout out to Dana Lash, and I really hope that her surgery goes okay and everything. Said something along the lines of, men who fail at sports, women's sports should not be their plan B. Hey, Becca, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. When my kids were little, I'd tell them if you ever get lost, look for a policeman or a mom. A mom will always help you. Kids know what a mom is. Exactly. It's not that hard. It's not that hard to identify. Women are easily identifiable. But now all of a sudden we can't identify them because Adele literally said, I love being a woman, and she got in trouble for it. We went from a guy getting in trouble for wearing a shirt with sexy pinup girls on it, fully clothed, by the way. Sexy pinup girls on it. By the way, were drawings. They weren't like real women. They weren't pictures of real women. They were drawings made for him by a woman. We went from canceling a guy who landed a satellite on a comet to being able to get mad at a woman for saying that she likes being a woman. Isn't that insane? This is why, you guys, this is why we cannot take we cannot take our moral examples. We cannot our moral definitions, our definitions of what morality is, from the radical left, despite the fact that they absolutely demand that we adhere to what their definitions of morality and goodness and virtue are. They have no morality or no virtue. Their entire MO is being displeased about any given thing. You cannot please these people. If you adhere to their virtues and their morality, what they consider to be right and wrong, they will change it the next day because their entire business model rests on the fact that they are victims, that bad things are happening to them and to people that they care about, that they're allies with. You cannot please them. It is impossible. They are unpleasable people. Stop trying to please unpleasable people. And that begins with not allowing them to define what everything is, from either morality to our science. Because even if we all agreed with them tomorrow, every single one of them, they would change it again because they need to always keep us on the back foot. It is the definite. If this was a personal relationship, this would be one of the most toxic ones. You know, you have those manipulators who are consistently displeased. They are unpleasable. You can't help them. No matter what you do, they're just mad and angry at you because you didn't do a good enough job. That is the woke culture, the social justice jackasses in a nutshell. You cannot please them. They were ultra feminist. Society went along with it, but they had to move on. They conquered us, so they had to move on. And then after that, they blitzkrieged across our society with this transgenderism thing. My Levine cartoon. Oh yeah, I remember that. Or is that was that that was a little while back, if I remember correctly. I actually do have one of your articles here. We're going to tackle that in a second. Woman of the Year to you, sir. See, she's winning Woman of the Year. And didn't Caitlyn Jenner win like woman, like sportswoman of the year or something like that? It's insane. Adele got helloed. Hello, it's me, from the woker side. He ranked in the 400s nationwide. They're the new ambassadors of unhappy. That's a great way to put it. A great way to put it. The ambassadors of unhappy. What I honestly don't understand is that women fought so hard to get Title IX, and now they're just throwing it all away. It's not women. It's not women. And that's something that we need to make very clear here, I think, in my opinion. You know, the last thing that I think that we should do is give these people seed the narrative to these people that they speak for women. Because they don't. They do not speak for women. Because how many women are in this chat right now that disagree with them? How many women, if you go on Twitter right now, you will find woman after woman after woman after woman after woman disagreeing. Feminist groups are starting to speak out now, thanks to Leah Thomas. You know, I asked where the feminists, and boom, there they were. And good for them. I think that they should show up. Because feminists have been oddly quiet about everything that the left holds up, the woke culture holds up as sacred. So, I think that this attitude is dangerous. We need to be able, because let's take a second, just a second, and think about the issues that might arise. And we know that they will arise because they already are from this kind of attitude. This I can't define a woman attitude. In schools, we can see already that whenever they refuse to define what a girl is, they have men walking into girls' restrooms and taking part in, watching girls change in locker rooms. They get actively angry. These transgendered kids get actively angry when girls won't change in front of them in the locker rooms. These are stories that have already come up. You've had a rape in Loudoun County, Virginia, of a transgender girl who raped another girl in a bathroom that the school tried to cover up. You have massive issues already. Now, imagine what would happen if the law suddenly dictated that there is no such thing as a woman, that you can identify as whatever you want, what can criminals get away with? Because you know for a fact that it's not just going to stop at people innocently identifying as something else. That's not what's going to happen. We already know that's not going to happen. These people are these activists. And let me be very clear. I'm talking about the activist community here. They make it clear that transgendered people should have no limits as to what they can do. They can go and do whatever and say whatever they want to, and you better obey. What happens if the law can't fully categorize men and women? Namely women. A man just says, I am what I am, and he gets placed in a women's prison. What happens then? A man says that I am a woman and I should be able to go wherever I want in terms of women's groups, and he ends up going into women's private spaces. But the law is the law. These are things that we need to really stop and think about. And if we have people like her in the highest office, in the highest court in the land, I should say, it's safe right now, but what happens in the future? The Supreme Court is not going to stay static. Deaths happen, retirements happen, and they happen at the most inconvenient of times, as we've seen. You never know when it's going to happen. Clarence Thomas just got put in the hospital for an infection. Scared the crap out of me. But what if that was worse? Well, now Biden gets to put another nominee on the court. Trump got lucky. Can change like that. And it's something to think about. Can't take credit for Ambassadors of Unhappy. It was a title Julian Bashir gave some characters on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. Star Trek references. Look at Camille Paglia. You couldn't find a bigger feminist, and they tried to cancel her for pushback. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's not just that. They've been banning feminists for... look at what they're doing to... the Harry Potter author. They're trying to cancel her strictly because she will not allow people, or she will not cave to the people who say that women aren't women. For some reason, I keep wanting to say J.J. Abrams. Oh, man, my brain is all over the place. I've been working a lot. I have been working a whole lot. And we know the left won't stop pushing for expanding the court. Absolutely. And she won't actually stop with that either. That's not a question that Jackson would answer. She wouldn't give a straight answer about it. Women are allowing it. Did you see the post-race interview with Leah? Well, here's the thing. I do not disagree that many women are too scared to step up and talk about it. But I think that that's starting to come to an end. I think that more and more women are starting to get really angry about it, and mostly women they can be pretty passive when it comes to social justice issues. A little too passive, in my opinion, ladies, okay? But that said, I think that more and more are starting to get angry about it and starting to speak out, because here's the thing that we do know about women. When they really do become angry and set their mind on something, they get what they want. All we need is for more women to be brave and step out of line and say, no more of this. No more. J.K. Rowling, thank you. Good God. I had to Google it. Yeah, J.K. Rowling. They're trying to cancel J.K. Rowling all the time for this nonsense. They're trying to cancel J.K. Rowling just for saying that women are women and men are men, and they cannot become something that they're not. She's speaking absolute truth. Now, J.K. Rowling is a, up until this point, she was a pretty hardcore leftist, and I don't, she would come out with these really weird social justice, declarations, right? Never made any sense to me. But then this one thing she would not budge on, and despite everything that she had said before that, all this glad handing and patting on the back for other leftists, she still gets canceled because of this one issue. And it just goes to show you how sometimes, these fads that come along, these social justice fads, these things that we're supposed to do as a society in terms of obedience towards a social narrative, it shows you that even it doesn't matter how obedient you are to everything else. If you are disobedient about this one thing, you're done. You're done, son. This is why we can't do this anymore. We can't sit here and try to please unpleasable people. Folks, I will be right back. Give me about 3 minutes. Talk amongst yourselves. I just got to make I'll be right back. Sorry about this. You know what? I will support Ketanji Brown Jackson if she makes it clear that door-to-door soliciting is illegal. Like she should make it absolutely illegal. This dude was adamant. He was like ringing my doorbell because he wanted to sell me pest control stuff. Good God. Right in the middle of stream too. Oh well. You know what? Yeah, these people drive me crazy. Them and people who drive slowly in the fast lane. What's your problem? What's your problem, bro? Stay out of my business. Like, don't ring my doorbell twice. Somebody rings your doorbell twice, you usually think that this is like a big deal, right? You're like, all right, somebody really, really, really wants my attention. Like something's happened and they need me to come to the door. Trying to sell me pest control, bro. Come on, man. Bets on Gizmo destroying the universe. Gizmo will destroy the universe one day. Shake more than twice your plate. The only Gizmo I know is the character from Gremlins. The funny part is that we named Gizmo after the characters from Gremlins. Like, she looks like a Mogwai. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, we're all talking about my puppy Gizmo, the Chihuahua, the long-haired Chihuahua that we have. She looks and behaves exactly like a gremlin. So, we thought Gizmo was just the appropriate name for her. At least it wasn't SWAT. Well, the funny part is that when the second time the doorbell rang, I was like, I have a feeling this is going to be involving law enforcement for some reason. People get swatted. Streamers get swatted all the time. But I mean, if you get swatted, they're not ringing your doorbell. They're just coming in. But that was annoying. I'm sorry for that interruption, folks. Let's dive into the next part of the article. Vox and Biden SCOTUS nominee might agree sex offender registries are mean to offenders. Show photos sometimes. I'll bring... Well, she's downstairs with her mom right now. Both me and my wife work from home. And we got Gizmo a little teepee. And she likes to hang out in the teepee downstairs next to where her mother works in her office. So we, I'd have to go downstairs and grab the dog. But Gizmo is she is, for all the trouble that she griefs me with, she's the cutest damn thing ever. I do love her to death, man. It's hard to stay mad at her for anything. And she'll do a lot of stuff to make you mad. Vox is a wellspring. I'm just going to dive into this one. Vox and Biden's SCOTUS nominee might agree sex offender registries are mean to offenders. We've covered this before. You can have her on. Oh, hell yeah. One day I will. I have her on my other stream, my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/the Morse code. Go check it out. By the way, like this stream if you haven't already. Give this stream a like. Make sure that the YouTube algorithm doesn't screw us too much. We've talked about this before in the past, where actually the first thing that I wanted to talk about when it came to Jackson was her wanting to go light on pedophiles. I'm obviously incredibly not for that. And no one else should be. But Democrats seem to be. And again, I want to bring this up. If Democrats knew about this before they recommended her, then that is insanely troubling. I don't know if they did. I think that they just saw her skin color. I think they saw that she was a certain gender, but that gender can't be defined, by the way. And that's all that they needed, because that's all that they desired. Again, I mean, it's the same thing. The same reason that Kamala Harris was selected as vice president. People demanded that a woman of color be the next vice president, and the Biden administration said, okay. To this day, is Kamala Harris qualified to be vice president? No, she's hardly qualified to run a lemonade stand in your local neighborhood. No matter what she does, everywhere she goes, she's absolutely embarrassing. But this is what happens when you try to choose everything, like shallow things, like skin color, melatonin levels, or not melatonin, melanin levels, and gender over merit, over actual qualifications. A black woman as a SCOTUS nominee or on the bench, great, awesome, all for it. But does she deserve the position? Has she done the work and done things that make it clear that she would make a good justice? Or are we just kind of throwing her out there because of her skin color? That's what they did with Kamala Harris, and Kamala Harris has been an abject disaster. This is what you get when you focus on literally skin-deep things. Just the way it goes. And it's sad. It's really sad. I'll have to become more of a regular. Cool. By all means! Sounds like a plan. So anyway, the one thing that has really... It hasn't surprised me, but it still shocked me. Shocking, but not surprising. Is the fact that you have the media right now trying to do everything in their power to run defense for this woman and her light on pedophile stances. So I'm just going to dive into this. This is from Jim Thompson, our own Jim. What's up, Jim? Vox is a wellspring of silly, utterly absurd takes. Since opening for business in 2014, it's published innumerable absurd articles explaining things that need no primer. It's explained so many that a new verb was invented, Vox-splaining. There are quite literally dozens of absurd Vox explains what X really meant, so much so that it would fill a book. Here are a few. In 2015, Vox explained that the Charlie Hebdo murders couldn't be explained via Hebdo cartoons mocking Islam's Muhammad. Sure, Charlie Hebdo constantly mocked French Muslims and their prophet, but who really knows what all those Muslims were there to do? Other than the murderers telling the world they are there to murder cartoonists, it remains a head-scratcher. And who can forget Gillette's Super Bowl ad in 2019? Gillette dumped on every man living, labeling men as a collection of misogynist creeps. Vox jumped into Vox-splain the ad for America. Vox told us that what the ad really meant, it wasn't just casting the net that, quote, men are awful. No, it was really an ad representing centuries of societal glorification of male violence, or to make a compelling argument that proves women are people. For those of you who don't remember that ad, let me just give you a quick background on it. They decided, Gillette, the company that made its, most of its money selling razors to men, decided to tell men that they were toxic and that they needed to do better. And they created one of the most cringeworthy commercials I've ever seen in my entire life. It was god-awful and very insulting. It narrowed pretty much all men down to just being beasts. Absolute horrible beasts who cared nothing about anyone but themselves and treated women like objects. That's all we were to Gillette. And as a result of that commercial, P&G that year posted, whenever they met, they posted a lot of their gains from the various company that they owned, Procter & Gamble. The various companies that they owned all made a profit, all of them, except for Gillette. Gillette lost billions of dollars that year. Billions. You go woke, you go broke. Perfect example. One of the biggest examples you've ever seen. Now, you'll see a lot of people sit there and go, oh, well, maybe it was because, Harry's Razors and, all these online razor companies were cutting in and doing all this and that to cut into their profits. The thing is that Gillette typically, I think it actually owns a couple of those online companies. You couldn't get away from Gillette. And yet people decided, nah, we're out. Peace. We're done. Lost billions. But now Vox wanted you to think that it was a great commercial. Of course they did, because Vox is a hard left organization. It's a hard left place to get your news and opinion from. What's up, citizen journalist? Not the Lord Jim? It is the Lord Jim. It's Lord Jim himself. He wrote this article. Welcome, citizen journalist. Thank you so much. Be sure to like the stream and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Per Vox, it was a noble but failed effort. No Vox-plaining needed. It was just a woke garbage advert to sell razors to men while directly insulting every man alive. Gillette managed to tank its stock to the tune of $350 million in 6 months. That is good. Deserved. I will never understand. Just quick aside. I don't want to get stun locked on this whole entire Gillette thing because I could go on to it for hours. But what are they thinking? What the idea that they could just insult men and then be like, you know what? In order for you to be a better man, buy our razors. You won't be as toxic if you buy our razors. Gillette, the best a man can get. You son of a bitch. What the fuck? It's weird that the chat resets every single time I switch scenes. I'm gonna have to look into that. On Tuesday, Biden's Supreme Court nominee Ketanji Brown Jackson completed her second day of testimony and was questioned about basics like the basis for Dred Scott, she couldn't recall, and about her sentencing record of sexual predators. She pushed back about her sentencing, which appears well below recommended federal guidelines. She vigorously objected to her sentences and pointed out that she scolds each offender with the same story before, in one case, sentencing the offender to 3 months. So she gives him a good scolding. She says, no, that's a bad boy. You don't do that. Now go to jail for 3 months for child porn. That'll teach him. And notably, she was also questioned about her past advocacy in regards to sexual predator registries being potentially unconstitutional. Her testimony reminded me of a Vox article, there always is one, that set its sight on sex offender registries. Vox's take on sex offender registries seemed to align with the SCOTUS nominee's past comments. In short, the length and breadth of sexual predator registries are, quote, are mean. The Vox author crunched well over 3,500 words to explain that although a sexual offender registry was well-intentioned in the 1990s, it is, quote, out of date in the 21st century. In the first... What? How? How is that even possible? Okay, look. Again, remember the whole Me Too movement and Time's Up and all that stuff? Remember when like sexual assault was basically how you terminated your entire life? You became a social pariah. If you even looked at a woman funny, it was considered sexual assault. You could not do any, you can say certain things to a woman that even that were actually very innocent without it being considered some sort of harassment. And now, literally what was it, Time's Up and Me Too? That was what, 3 years ago? 2019, 2018? In the span of that amount of time, we are now at, well, sex offender registries, we need to change them. They're just mean. They're mean. Sex offender registries, what do you think is on, who do you think are primarily on these sex offender registries? Pedophiles and rapists. Is anybody else just like, what the hell? Am I taking crazy pills? In the first example of Vox explaining, the author cites a case of a Texas man, Frank Rodriguez. He was a 19-year-old man who had sex with his 15-year-old high school girlfriend. Shockingly, her mother had enough with her 15-year-old having sex with an adult. He pled guilty to sexual assault and served 7 years probation. They are married with 4 children, but he was placed on a sexual offender registry. Other examples are less sympathetic, which explains the title, Why the Sex Offender Registry Isn't the Right Way to Punish Rapists. Vox argues there seems to be little evidence that registries work because the recidivism rate is low. I'm not a criminologist or a statistician, but a low rate of repeat offenders maybe indicates that it does work? Jim, the logic that you're using here is frankly offensive. Okay? Stop being so mean. In the 3,500 words of Vox explaining, the author doesn't offer any concrete solutions, only to complain that a life on a sexual registry is awful and that registries are public and people can look up registrants in the area. That's just mean. In many states, there are some allowances for a registrant to petition to drop off the registry for minor sexual offenses, but the author never mentions that. Vox posits, something designed for one purpose ends up getting used for something else. As usual, it happened because people can't agree on what society wants to do with criminals to begin with. Is the point of the sex offender registry to punish people for what they've done, or is it to ensure that they don't do it again? Likely both, and I'm fine with that. What seems worrisome is that Biden's SCOTUS nominee seems to agree, and did in the past, that sex offender registries are, quote, mean and might be unconstitutional. If she's seated and the issue is raised, maybe John Roberts will agree that registries are mean and therefore unconstitutional. That would be a problem. So I can understand, look, in the interest of coming to the center, I can understand how you would have a sex registry that is somehow out of date. If a person gets on there for what is considered like a minor offense of something of that nature, and they are on it years and years and years and years and years and years later after having no other kind of crimes to that regard or anything like that whatsoever, yeah, being taken off, fine. We can, that's perfectly okay. Because I honestly do not think that if you are a stand-up citizen and you made a wrong in the past and you go for a long time without having done anything else wrong, you are a stand-up citizen. I don't think that your crime should be held against you. As a Christian man, I think forgiveness is great. And you should be able to not have to be held to the sin you committed a long time ago. People are different people from year to year to year. One of the reasons that I really didn't like it whenever we held, people's tweets, old tweets against them from like 8 years ago, or quotes that they said 10 years ago, 15 years ago, and I thought it was stupid. I was like, first off, people's minds change about a lot in the course of a year. Now you add 8 years, 10 years, 15 years on top of that, you are talking to literally a completely different person than they were years ago. So if you have literally reformed and you are a good guy and you have done nothing wrong and it's not, you are a stand-up citizen, fine, great, I am all for that. But there's a reason that we have this thing. And I think it's good that we have this. You need the fact that there is a registry alone makes people think twice about doing something wrong. Being put on it comes with some pretty nasty things that make your life very hard. And if you decide that you want to be a molester or rapist or anything like that, or a pedophile, this list is a good punishment. It's a great punishment. And it clearly works. Or at least it helps. And I do not think that making this lighter for anybody is going to help our society in general, specifically women. But we can't define what a woman is. We don't know what a woman is, guys. Excellent article, Jim. Really good. So it does trap some men, and once you're on there, it doesn't distinguish what your crime was. Yeah. See, that could be fine-tuned. I'm perfectly fine with that. Look at the difference between her hearings and that of Justice Kavanaugh. Yeah. And we're about to talk about that, actually. A pedo is way different than a teen boy who made a poor decision. Exactly. And I think that if we're going to make improvements to this sex offender registry, then we need to make it very clear, A, what their crime was, and there should be a time limit based on it. If you're a teen who made a stupid decision, then you know, like, I don't think that you should have that held against you forever. Because you're a teenager, you're a young man. And she was a young lady who made a stupid decision, didn't know any better. I think it's great that, you know, this kind of thing is dissuaded, kind of punished. Great. Okay, cool. But you don't need to have to suffer the rest of your life for something. And also, the sex offender registry comes with a very heavy cost. I mean, it's a scarlet letter, baby. And if they don't differentiate between what you did, like, you know, you could be held to the same standard as the guy who touches kids, and you're just this dude who back when you were like 19, 18, 20, whatever, who did something stupid at a party, you know? That absolutely does need to change. I get that. But even so, this sex offender registry still clearly works. And it does not need to go anywhere. Agreed, and laws are changing to reflect. Good. The length of the registry seems out of whack. 30 years with no repeat seems wrong for a guy having sex with an underage girl. Yeah. Rapists belong in the list forever. There's an amazing but harrowing podcast about how the sex offender registry started, Into the Dark. Highly recommend it. I definitely want to check that out. Yeah, for sure. Yes, except as a judge, she doesn't get to change the law by fiat because she wants to. Yeah. But wouldn't that be nice? According to Democrats. The woman who advocated for it because of her son's kidnapping and murder now advocates against it. It has come between her and her husband now. Fascinating. I want to see this podcast or check out this podcast. Absolutely. I would love to hear more about it, like stories from people who have either had involvement in it, have been on it. I would like to hear that. Nuance is a great thing. Don't get me wrong. Nuance is awesome. Now, given if you are a pedophile or you distribute pedo porn, no nuance. Nuance stops there. In my honest opinion, there's a difference. And you know what I mean by pedophilia. I'm not talking about dumb teenage relationships. I'm talking about pedophilia, touching kids. No line, no nuance. I think that we can all agree on that. Apparently, well, we can't. You can look up the offending crime of the registrant. Good. She's basically pounding home the activist point by continuing to press that point. I view the registry like I do death penalty. I think it serves a purpose, but it's ripe for abuse. I still support the death penalty and the registry. I support. I don't want to get stun locked on this, but the idea of a. I think we do the death penalty all wrong. All wrong. I think that we have made it so that it's super expensive. It's actually more. It costs more to have someone on death row than it does to just have them a life sentence at the moment, which is crazy to me. That's an entirely different podcast, and we could talk about that. But I don't want to get too stun locked. Democrats call Republican senators racist for treating Ketanji Jackson like everyone else. We should have a podcast about that, or not a podcast, an episode about that, and just have like a huge chat about the death penalty. You would be surprised how split the Republican Party is, conservatives are on the death penalty. I wrote about it a while back, like a few years back, and the war that occurred over it was pretty crazy. This one is from Jeff Charles. Jeff Charles, who is one of my favorite authors at Red State. Seriously, every time he posts something, I gotta go read it. He's one of the more talented writers, in my honest opinion. Not saying that our entire cast isn't talented. They absolutely are. But, sometimes you just jive with another writer better. I no longer support the death penalty. My son changed my mind. Stats don't support its use. Yeah. It's interesting. It's funny. There's a big divide in the conservative movement, on the right in particular, like in general, about the death penalty. Here we go again. Democrats have found yet another opportunity to falsely label their political opposition as racist. The Supreme Court confirmation hearings for Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson began on Monday, and the left is already characterizing Republican senators as vicious racists for daring to question her qualifications. Even Mr. Magoo, I'm laughing because did y'all see Mazi Hirono and her whole entire thing? It was one of these here. Can we just go over that real fast? It to me was one of these weird moments, man. Here it is. This is literally okay. So we were talking about how they're trying to make a big deal out of any question Jackson receives as being targeted for sexism or racism or anything like that. Mazi Hirono tried to make Republicans out to be racist and make it about race and da-da-da-da-da. And then she turns around literally in like the next sentence and says it absolutely is about race and sex. I'm going to play this out real fast.
Though my Republican colleagues and public figures have attempted to undermine your qualifications through their pejorative use of the term affirmative action, and they have implied you were solely nominated due to your race and not for other factors. Apparently, some have even claimed that you need to show your LSAT scores to determine whether you are a top legal mind. This is incredibly offensive and condescending. Let me be clear. Your nomination is not about filling a quota. It is about time. It's about time that we have a highly qualified, highly accomplished black woman on the Supreme Court. It's about time our highest court better reflects the country it serves. It's about time that black women and girls across the country can finally see themselves who look like them sitting on the...
It's not about that, but it's about that. What the hell? These people on the left do not understand themselves at all. And I actually do write about that. Mazi Hirono demonstrated that the radical leftists don't really understand themselves, in which I kind of go over how I've seen this kind of thing, this lack of understanding before. And you can see it very well in a conversations between Tim Pool and Trust and Safety Director at Twitter, Vijaya Gad. Go check it out. It's a VIP article. If you want to sign up for VIP, I absolutely recommend it. We got some really great stuff at on the VIP side of things. You can use promo code Morse to sign up for a discount, and you can read this article. And you absolutely should, because like To me, this is just the weirdest thing. Like, they do not hear themselves talk sometimes. They do not understand their own position sometimes. They do not fully recognize their hypocrisy. Like, they can't see it. It's almost like a blind spot to them, and it's very interesting to watch. And the same thing kind of happened with Gad, where she was talking about why they banned people from Twitter for the transgender argument, and Tim Pool could not get Gad to understand that she was basing her banning and suspending of people on Twitter off of her own opinion, not fact. And she could not wrap her head around it. It's like it was like when I hand my dog pen and paper, like, it's just abject confusion. Also, just to do a little quick advertising here, Kira just mentioned her Just Listen to Yourself podcast. Go listen to her podcast. If you like this show, Kira Davis is a bajillion times better than me at this. So go and check out the Just Listen to Yourself podcast. She talks about a lot of great stuff. Very in-depth, very good stuff. It's always a good podcast. Go check it out. By all means. Death penalty is not a political issue, really. It's unsurprising conservatives disagree on the issue, which is actually refreshing. Kira, thank you so much for stopping by. Seriously. Much love to you. My grandfather was part of the arrest team for John Wayne Gacy. Gacy outlived him on death row. See, yeah, that's one of the things that, like, many people, it's so expensive to keep a prisoner on death row. It's very expensive. Leftists always project. Yep. She was selected for her race. Biden said, I'm selecting a black woman. They made that a point of pride. But whatever. Let's talk about the way that they're treating her versus the way that they treated other judicial nominees during the Trump era. Professional race baiter Ellie Mistel wrote a piece on The Nation in which she predicted Republicans are going to do all sorts of racisms to keep Jackson from being appointed to the Supreme Court. He wrote, and yet, Republicans are still going to Republican. Even if they can't stop Ketanji Brown Jackson, they're going to engage in all manner of nastiness just to rile up their racist, violent base. You're a bunch of racist, violent people, apparently. Who was burning down cities? Remind me? It was the leftists. And they were applauding each other over it. Republicans demonize black people. No, they don't, because it makes them money. No, it doesn't. And their attacks on Jackson will be repeated in fundraising material all across the country. Here, then, is an overview of what to watch out for over the next few days during the confirmation hearings. Where do these people get the... I mean, it's... this is good business for them. That's what it is. They have to make Republicans and conservatives seem like they are absolutely racist because it's good business. Late night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel also suggested that daring to question parts of Jackson's record is an indicator that GOP senators spend their weekends burning crosses in white hoods. These hearings, they give a number of our Republican senators the chance to compete in one of their favorite events, the Subtle Racism Jamboree. Subtle Racism Jamboree. He added, they would be the GOP's ultimate nightmare, or that would be the GOP's ultimate nightmare, having this decided by two black women whose names they can't pronounce. Okay. This is reaching. Kimmel is reaching here. First off, you want to talk about subtle racism? The soft bigotry? The soft bigotry of low expectations is a thing. And the left is beyond guilty of it. They truly think that they need to stand up and speak for people of color constantly. They have a white savior complex that is so pervasive, yet they don't even notice it. They don't know. They don't think they're racist for doing this. You know, Black Lives Matter, if you actually went over it and saw the many of the, like, a lot of the footage from it, for every one black person that was there, you would see like 4 or 5 white people. They have this idea that they have to speak. You even saw footage during the Black Lives Matter riots. You would see a black person disagree with what's going on, and white people would shut them down and call. They were sitting there like it was a black officer, and you had this like white woman sitting there calling him a race traitor. These people are nuts. Political commentator Juan Williams also joined in on the fun in a piece for The Hill. In the article, Williams suggested that every Supreme Court nominee who is not a white male faced bigotry and argued the same would be true of Jackson. Given that track record, I expect the GOP and their allies on the right, in the right media echo chamber, to use every wink and nod of racist attacks to deny Jackson a court seat. Wink and nod. So if they're not being overtly racist, they're just secretly being racist. No matter what they do, it's racist. It doesn't matter. They could literally be petting a puppy and they would be like, "Oh, that's a subtle nod to racism." Surprisingly, Williams also included Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas as an example of a black man who faced racism from Democrats during his confirmation hearings. Even though I disagree, I can respect the consistency. Okay. The accusations of racism were about as predictable as President Joe Biden's gaffes. After all, it is the Democrats' favorite political tactic, but it is not difficult to see through the bovine excrement, especially in this case. I like that. Anyone who pays attention to politics knows that what Jackson is going through is par for the course. Every Supreme Court nominee is thoroughly vetted and scrutinized before taking the bench. Republicans are not treating her any differently from others who have sought a position on the highest court in the land. Indeed, it is clear that she will not have to endure the same process as Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh or Clarence Thomas, who still to this day, by the way, has to endure all sorts of accusations of rape and racism. Weirdly, he has to endure accusations of freaking racism. Whether she is confirmed or not, it would be foolish to ascribe her treatment to racism, but what else can we expect from the left? It's almost like a tick now. Like anytime anything happens, whether it is Republicans acting against or they're trying to get on top of something before it gets bad, or it's a common sense law, it doesn't matter what, really. It is automatically ascribed to racism. Even if it is very much so directly trying to help black communities, Hispanic communities, whatever, it is secretly racism. You cannot be a Republican or a conservative or a libertarian even. You cannot be any of those and not have something that you're doing ascribed to race. It could be completely outside race, and it would be labeled racism. They will find a way to put an ism or a phobe next to it. It's a tick they have already. This is why you have people like Jimmy Kimmel and Ellie Mistel at The Nation writing these really bizarre things about how, like, we're all just people march around in hoods, burning crosses and I don't know, just destroying black community. Like they can't help themselves. They have no evidence, so they have to create it. The subtle racism, the secret nods, the unconscious bias, all these things to make it seem like you have some sort of original sin when it comes to racism. No matter what you do, it's racist. No matter what they do, it's not racist, according to them. They could literally be screaming at a black person in their face about how they're a race traitor and they need to fall back in line, and somehow that's still not racist, according to the left. It's absolutely insane. Blackface Kimmel? Yeah, him of all people. Again, you know what the unofficial motto of the Democrat Party is? It's okay when we do it. Unofficial motto of the Democrat Party. It's okay when we do it. They can put on a hood, they can do blackface. Sarah Silverman, Jimmy Kimmel, governor of who was it? Which governor was it? Was it the governor of North Carolina? I can't remember. Northam, Ralph Northam. He can do it. Justin Trudeau can do it. They can all do it, but you can't. You're a racist. They can do it because they're not racist. They're at least not going to be held to a different standard. Or they are going to be held to a different standard. They're going to be held to the same standard as you. Everything you do is racist. Everything that they do is kissed by angels. Gotta roll. See y'all. Brent, thank you so much, Jim, for stopping by. Always a pleasure, my friend. Or it's secretly homophobic. Oh, yeah. They'll find a way. They'll find a way to make it so that whatever you did, it's evil. They can't even ask simple questions of a woman who is going to be at the highest court of the land. Right? Can't do that because it's racist. You can't question her about her thoughts on pedophilia and going easy on pedophiles. You cannot question her inability to not being able to define a woman. By the way, before I go, what's up, April? Don't understand why people aren't coming together as a human race and realize that we've been lied to just about everything. Love thy neighbor. Pay it forward. Amen, April. Amen. I think we can figure out who women are. I think it's very easy. Just before we go, this was awesome. DeSantis dismisses Leah Thomas, declares NCAA's women's swimming event winner the second place finisher. This is what we need. Right here, folks. Y'all remember this picture? I think that this picture should be it should go down in history as a moment where women said no. We're not going to do this anymore. We're not going to play these games. You've got Leah Thomas over here, this Goliath of a man, pretending to be a woman, standing by himself with his NCAA first place champion trophy. And you have the second, third, and fourth place finisher over here in third, like just standing down here, minding their own, right? All women. Man, woman. This is a clear message right here that these women aren't going to tolerate this nonsense. They're going to stand together. This should go down in history as one of those times, as one of those moments where, you know, the narrative started to shift. And I think that really, really does started to shift here. And its moment was accompanied by this right here. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, once again, America's governor. Among those not giving the transgender swimmers any credence is Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, who wholly dismissed the cheater and declared that the true winner was none other than the second runner-up, Emma Wyatt. Wyatt? Forgive me if I butchered that. If you look at what the NCAA has done in allowing basically men to compete in women's athletics, and in this case, swimming, you had the number one woman who finished was from Sarasota, Emma Wyatt, said DeSantis. She won the silver medal. She's been an absolute superstar her whole career. To compete at that level is very, very difficult, he said. And you don't just roll out of bed and do it. That takes grit. That takes determination. Now the NCAA is basically taking efforts to destroy women's athletics. They're trying to undermine the integrity of the competition, crowning somebody else the women's champion, and we think that that's wrong. We're going to be doing a proclamation saying that Emma is the best female swimmer in the 500-yard freestyle. She earned that, and we need to stop allowing organizations like the NCAA to perpetrate frauds on the public. Amen. Leah Thomas is a cheater. Period. She's a cheater. He's a cheater. Excuse me. He's an absolute cheater, and that needs to be called out. We need to recognize women whenever they succeed in women's sports or in anything. The moment a man is handed an award for something a woman should have got, the public, as many elected leaders as possible, whatever, need to immediately dismiss him and say the runner-up is the first place person, is the first place winner. First place woman. It's easy. We have to retake the culture back. This is one of those moments where we know what we have to do. We just have to stand up and do it. And DeSantis, thank God for DeSantis for doing this. Put women back in the places that they deserve to be. Emma deserves first place. She is the first place winner. That cheater, get him out of here. He shouldn't even be a factor. It's easy to identify what a woman is. Especially in this case. Good on DeSantis for doing that. Joe Biden was ignorant to Thomas during his hearings. Oh, yeah. Joe Biden was absolutely awful to Clarence Thomas. Northam, yeah. Because the powers that be don't want us united. United, we're harder to control. Amen. You nailed it, noob. So much for the women's movement. Yeah, we've been covering that. All these women's movements mean nothing now. They've just been thrown under the back seat. You know, just get out of here. We don't need you anymore now that we have the transgender issue. Did you see that Twitter banned the female swimmer that Thomas knocked out of the finals? No, I didn't see that. From UVA? No, I didn't see that. You know, it doesn't surprise me, though. She's a threat to the narrative. She's an absolute threat to the narrative. We can't have people sympathizing with her, because if they sympathize with her, then Leah Thomas is you know, the narrative that they're creating around him is under threat. They can't have that. Good God, man. These poor, imagine that you are a woman, right? And you wake up every morning. And what do? You practice. You practice swimming. You get better and better. You develop the strength, the skill, the knowledge. You spend your weekends going and practicing this sport, honing your skill. You miss out on so much personal time because of it. You know, maybe your dating life suffers. Maybe your family life suffers a little bit. Who knows? Something suffers because you are dedicating so much time and effort to perfecting your craft, to perfecting your art, your sport, your ability, your athleticism. You're putting so much time and effort into that, right? And you make it to the top because you push yourself so hard. You're going to compete with the best of the best of the best. And some dude just who couldn't make it on his own in men's categories, he just decides that he's going to call himself a woman and take all of that from you. All of it. Let's say that you're so good that you beat every other girl except for this one dude, but he still gets to call himself champion. And the NCAA, these official institutions, call him a champion, and you're not. You're second place. You're not as good. Stripped from you. A woman competing in women's sports by a man who just says that he's a woman. How crushed would you be? How insulted would you be? This person that was pushed out by Leah Thomas has every right to complain because she put in so much time and effort to get to where she is, and now she's been kicked to the curb, not just by the organization where she was competing in, but by Twitter. Because why? I don't know why. I'm going to assume because she was speaking out. That's why she was banned. She has every right to speak out. The women in my family were house moms. I am so glad the family unit has suffered for that loss. We can get into we can have an entire stream about my thoughts about where we are in terms of feminism and what it's done to women and how unhappy they are and biology and all that stuff. It's not going to be a popular. I'm going to piss a lot of people off in that stream. I can tell you that right now. But biology is biology. Nature is nature. And facts is facts. It's actually one of my more controversial. It was a controversial article that I wrote about why women are trying to find men nowadays. They're trying to find good men and they're not anywhere to be found. And I was like, it's not necessarily that good men are gone. It's that they just don't want modern women anymore. Like they've tapped out. And then I kind of go into explaining what it is about modern women that has men so turned off. And I was very surprised at how many women were in the comments of that article agreeing with me. I was kind of crazy. And we could totally dedicate an entire stream to that because that was an interesting conversation to have. And I would love to have a conversation with the ladies in this chat about it. But that's for another stream. True. April, definitely come back. Come back. We'll have a conversation about that during one stream. Guys, thank you guys so much for for hanging out. I'm going to end the stream here. Hour and a half really flies by, man. Really flies by. Be sure to like this stream if you haven't already. Go to redstate.com. Everything that I've talked about is on the site right now. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you guys on Friday. I'm trying to get my hands on this. I saw that somebody forced a bot to watch 1,000 hours of Biden speeches. And the first page is one of the most hilarious things I've ever read. So I'm going to try to find that, and I'm going to read it on Friday, so be sure to be there for that. It's probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Go to YouTube. This stream will be on Rumble tomorrow, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Go subscribe to our Rumble as well. And keep an eye out, because I will be releasing clips both on Twitter and on YouTube. Follow me at TheBrandonMorris if you're not already. And be sure to follow every other author that on Red State. Excuse me, I'm tongue-tied. I don't know why. And I will see you guys on Friday. Much love to you guys. Y'all have a good rest of your week. Peace.